Hello, welcome to movie review. Um, Star Trek. I finally uh, got a chance to see um, the movie with my wife. I saw it in 3D. Um, it was the only options available, so I'm not a big fan of seeing movie in 3Ds. And in fact, over the past 5 years, I think I saw maybe five movies in 3D, but it's the only choice, and in the end, it was a decent experience. I'm never super impressed with 3D, and this one is nothing special in my opinion. There's a few cool shots here and there, but overall, no big deal. Star Trek Beyond. So this is the spoiler-free portion of the review, and I will go into the spoiler-filled portion in the second half of the review. Okay, so for now it's spoiler free. Um, you know, the I heard a lot of review of a lot of people that thought this movie was better than the last one, um, or even better than the the first one that J.J. Abrams rebooted. So I can say that I left this movie feeling fairly mixed. It's hard for me to rate this movie. I definitely would say that it is not better than the first movie that J.J. Abrams did, the reboot of the franchise. Definitely not. Is it better than the last movie with Khan? That's a tough one. I would say it is on par with Khan for me. Um, I enjoy Khan, the movie would, sure, it is a story rehash and nothing fresh was added, absolutely, in many ways. In this movie, um, I think more so because I thought Cumberbatch did a better job as a villain compared to Idris Elba as a villain in this movie. I don't think it's Idris Elba's fault. I think it's more of the writing, the storyline. Um, sure, there is a revenge angle to both villains, but Idris Elba character is hell bent into destroying uh, the Federation, destroying the world. I'm never a big fan of villain that just sure I understand conquering the world or doing something, but to destroy everything, it seemed so. The concept seems stupid. Whenever I watch a movie, and the villain want to destroy the world, it's stupid. Then what is there to enjoy? To me, it's a soulless. Uh, it never makes sense to me. Never have, never will. Um, but I give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I think I felt the action was plentiful. I do have some issue with the action. I have, um, when it comes down to action, I really dislike too many close up um, angles. It, Even when it's not shaky cam, okay? It's just that when you have good action, sometimes it's better to pan out a little bit to show the full body so that we can see the full motion. But if all we see is half a body, the punch and the elbow and the fall, it's just a chaos when I see that kind of action scene. So there's a lot of that kind of chaotic action scenes that I didn't really like. When it comes down to good action scenes, I really like, for example, in the Captain America movie where Tony Stark, or Iron Man, Captain America, and the Winter Soldier had the big fight. It's a beautiful view where you see the full body of all three characters and you see the full motion. Sure, there was some shot of close-up shot, but there are plenty of pan out shot that give me the full motion of the action instead of just too many quick cut thing. And I hate that kind of action scene, and this movie had plenty of those kind of scenes. Maybe other people love them, I'm sure, but for me, no. Story, once again, plot holes galore. Okay, for those who watch enough of my movie review or TV review, you know that I am very picky when it comes down to good story. And this movie was, I can say without spoiling, I felt the first 15 minutes of this movie was very weak. It's one of the weakest opening 15 minutes of any Star Trek movie that I can remember. It is downright boring. Okay, you know, I'm not a big fan that action movie, science fiction movie need to open with a bang to draw me in. In fact, that's one of my biggest complaints is that Hollywood has fell into this formula for decades now, where every action science fiction movie have to be open with the action sequence like a James Bond movie. James Bond was the first of its kind, where the first 5, 10, 15 minutes is an awesome sequence before you see the Bond theme and music play. Okay, James Bond was the first, I think, to did something like that. It's a formula that they use, and then over the past 15 years, every movie, every action movie, science fiction movie felt a need to do that. And in this movie, it felt they really did not have a big action piece in the beginning, and whatever they used in the first 15 minutes was very weak in my opinion. It pulled me out of the movie for the first 15 minutes, and then slowly it built up, but the payoff at the end was kind of disappointing. um, so I give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. That would be generous. Do I want to see this movie again? Unlike many other Star Trek movie, I'm not sure I want to see this movie again. I think 7.5 out of 10 is very generous for me. um, it's the best part of the movie is the doctor, Bones. I thought Bones did a good job. Spock is Spock. um, you know but seem like Bones and Spock and Kirk, of course, the three of them get the majority of the spotlight. Scotty did some pretty good scenes. So, you know, if you look at the individual performance of each of the main character, from Scott to Spock to Bones, they all did good. There's nothing to complain about the performances of each one of those main characters. It's just the damn story is weak. The plot is weak, in my opinion. But so that's it for this spoiler-free portion of this review. If you want to stick around to hear some of the spoilers, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Okay, so here come the spoilers. The opening sequence, I did not like it at all. With Kurt standing there with all these creatures. Sure, they use the angle to give you this look that these creatures are gonna be scary and massive, and then they turn out to be this little cat size creature, and then they attack Kurt. I didn't care for it. And then, as I mentioned in the previous portion, I thought the first 15 minutes was weak, and it's just not interesting. Okay, absolutely not interesting. And then once the action start to roll and you see this massive destruction of the Enterprise, that looked great. It looked great, but it make no sense to me that the bad guy is trying to capture the crew. It make no sense because all the actions show me that they are hell bent to destroy the ship, and somehow destroying the ship is most likely will kill the majority of the crew, not capture them. So it's non definitely non-evasive. It's not like they stand in a party inside the ship and trying to take over the ship and get the crew, uh, keep the crew as prisoner. That's normally what we saw in many Star Trek TV shows as well as movies. But no, this movie is gonna take the full out action angle, and my God, the action is great. I'm not gonna complain about that, but the close quarter action was lame, in my opinion. I did not like the shaky cam, the close up angle of the close quarter actions. Um, and once they destroyed the ship and everyone kind of dispersed into the onto the planet, the whole motive of the bad guy trying to find that one piece, I don't need to go into further plot holes of uh, that. Okay, so let's just make the leap of understanding and believe that that little device means something for him. But once the character, the what's her name? I need to look at her name. There's a character that they introduce. What is her name? The girl in white. Okay, the one that you see in the preview, in the trailer. It's a white female with a white skin and the little black stripe. She show up. She was a badass, and then she used this special technology to split herself, or to put two or three other image of her to confuse uh, the people that she fought against. Scotty act as if no, for the rest of the movie there is not even an explanation or even like a whoa, what the heck is this technology thing. It's like I said, that kind of annoying because I thought it was cool, but at least show some character amazement, like whoa, what the heck is this, like I said, she show up, she uses technology, no big deal, and then she used it again with Kurt, which it's nothing like take out our motorcycles that had been sitting there for decades and be able to ride it. Okay, yeah. Um, and the bad guy, like I said, the bad guy, I'm never a big fan of a bad guy that is full on motive is to destroy the human race or to destroy the world, the Federation. But whatever. Uh, but in hindsight, by the end of this movie, when we learn that who he was, it bothers me that the old spaceship has been there all along and had been disguised. It's disguised, but you're talking about his ship, isn't it? It isn't the ship the same one that he crashed years and years ago. You tell me that he walked away from that crash years and years ago and not realize that that ship is still on the planet. Whatever. It's I'm sitting there. I'm just like, what? Uh, and then the banters between Scotty and Spock is fun to listen to. Um, the dialogue is very good between all the actors. I like I mentioned in my spoiler-free version of this review, there is very little to complain about the acting uh, in this movie. It's more about the plots, the plot holes. Um, it's just you know I nothing was explained or allude to how this so-called planet was able to keep this guy alive for a long time, and how that transformed him into this creature, this alien looking thing. Is the rest of the alien looking creature are the crewmates that transform? And how did they get all this technology? How did these people that crash land to this planet was able to make all of this? Is this a different race of creatures that have been there before? Like I said, it's just sit there and head scratching like what the hell is going on? Um, yes, as usual, I fault my own brain for being too nitpicking, maybe because nothing makes sense in the movie to me as far as the bad guy and his crew, because somehow they get access to all of these wonderful flying ships. There are literally millions of them, okay? And when they're in space, there are millions of them. When they're on the ground, there's a few hundreds. for the for the rescue to work, all that stuff, I'm just like, oh my god, it's silly. It's that whole action sequence with Captain Kirk splitting image of 4 or 5 different motorcycle running around to confuse the bad guys. Oh, not to my liking. Yeah. Is it fun? Sure. Is it stupid? Absolutely. Um, and the attack, once the bad guy go into the third act, the finale, and attack the big base. Holy cow! It's just like, sure, it's action and eye candy for us audience, but how many times do we need to see the same um, plot device used? As far as you have this swamp of enemies, just use a device that can confuse them, and then they're gonna crash into each other and blow up. Oh, and then the entire one-on-one fight with Captain Kirk and Idris Alba. Uh, it's a weak ending in my opinion. Like I said, to me, the the previous movie with Khan, I enjoyed more. The finale, the fight, the action was much more engaging, much more interesting. For me, I enjoy that movie more compared to this movie. This movie, um, in many ways, I like it less than the previous movie. There's something that are better than the last movie. There are some originality, some different takes, introducing some different characters, which is great. Like that female alien, I thought she was fun to watch, but she doesn't have that many lines. She's a great action character, but maybe in the future, now that she joined Starfleet, maybe they will make a bigger role for her in future movies. But yeah, it's I can sit here all day and nitpick the heck out of this movie and lower the score all the way down to 5. Already, I regret giving this movie a 7.5 because it did not deserve a 7.5. Now that I sit here and talk about how much I dislike many things in the movie. That's it. Thanks for watching. If you're a Star Trek fan, go see the movie. If you're not a Star Trek fan, I think you might like it more than me.